Hi all, this will be a recap of the JavaScript questions we saw from 26th September to 2nd October. For this week, whatever JavaScript questions we saw, we'll just have a recap of them. Hi all, welcome to this series of intro questions in front end. So today we'll be seeing yet another JavaScript important question. Okay, is JavaScript a loosely typed or strongly typed language? And is JavaScript static typed or dynamically typed? Okay, so what is typing first? Okay, if you have known Java or any other language, we'll go for Chrome itself. We'll open the inspector tools. Okay, open this. So if you have worked with Java or C, those all are strongly typed language. Okay, you have to, before saving any value inside a variable, you have to tell what type of variable it is. So based on that, that much amount of memory will be allocated. Maybe in Java you have to say string a, and then only you will be able to initialize a variable, right? Because Java, C and all those languages are strongly typed. Before initializing a variable, you have to tell what type of variable it is. But in case of JavaScript, it is loosely typed. You need not say to the JavaScript engine what type of variable it is. So you can simply say var a. So that's enough to the JavaScript engine. So it shows how flexible it is. Okay. So just saying it is a variable. That's it we are saying. We are not saying what type of variable I'm planning to save inside it, whether I'm going to save a string, number. We are not, the JavaScript engine is not concerned. Okay, this proves that it is a loosely typed. It does loosely typed or untyped language, you can say. The other thing I was speaking is almost both are same. Okay, loosely typed and dynamically typed both are same almost. Okay, but understand, you may get a question loosely typed, dynamically typed. Maybe you can get loosely typed or strongly typed and static typed or dynamic typed. You may get a question. Okay, so dynamically typed. So in Java, all those languages, you are specifying what type of variable it is. But in case of JavaScript, it is based on the value you put inside. The JavaScript engine decides it is it has to allocate that much memory for a string. Based on the value you put inside, it decides the data type. So that's why it is called as dynamically typed. You understand? But in case of Java and all C++, it is static typed. Before initialization, while initialization itself, you have to say it is string, int, boolean, whatever it is. But in case of JavaScript, it is decided only at runtime. For all these languages like Java, C, C++, it is decided in the compile time itself. But in JavaScript, it is decided only while execution, that is runtime. So which is better? Just think over this, right? You may have a function, okay. So in JavaScript, you need not tell what type of function, what type of variable it is. You have a function like this. Maybe the person who wrote this function who would have thought this should accept only numbers, and he might have written something a equal to a plus b. Okay, something like this. Okay, maybe I will name it func1. So this is all valid in JavaScript. You need not say the type and what type of variable argument the function will be accepting. Nothing is needed. Now if I say func1, maybe name it 100. Okay, just for example. Now I have written a function with assumption that it will take only numbers. But a person comes inside my code, he sends a string to it. So that's a error. Okay, string, since JavaScript is loosely typed, okay, at the compile time I will not be able to know that this function is not supposed to send a receive a string, but it has received a string, and only at runtime I will get an error that I am not able to add strings. Okay, you understand? So there are some problems to it. When it is you are given so much flexibility, there are some problems that you will be able to know. Also, you will be able to know, since there is also no compile time errors, you will be able to know the errors only at runtime. Okay. So hope this is clear. So for coming out of this problem in JavaScript, TypeScript came. With TypeScript, you will be able to have a extra check of compile time. At compile time itself, you will be able to see the errors. Okay. You are getting an extra step. That is a compile time errors. So the TypeScript does a compile time error, and it makes the JavaScript language a strongly typed. Okay, or strongly typed or static typed, both. Okay, okay, but JavaScript, by JavaScript alone, if you take, it is loosely typed and dynamically typed. It is so flexible, it does not need any type. You, just by based on what you give it, whatever you initialize with it, the type is got automatically. That's what I said here, right? Var of a and type of a, you since we put a string inside the variable, it will be a string. Okay, you understand, right? Hope question this question you are able to understand. Thank you. Kindly subscribe to get my further questions every day. Thank you. Hi all, welcome to this series of interview questions in front end. Today we will be seeing another simple question, being simple and very important question. So this question many would have faced in the interview as well. What is the difference between double equal to and triple equal to in JavaScript? Okay, this question might look like very simple, but there are so much inside that. If you see, based on what answer you give in the interview, it means how much you know about JavaScript, because it has so much. Let's see in detail. Okay. So double equal to, it is called as loose equality operator. That's why many we are advised not to use that. So in case of, we will see the comparison first with respect to primitives and non-primitives, because primitives it acts differently, non-primitives it acts differently. Okay. So in case of primitives, what really happens? Okay, everyone knows it actually compares. Okay, 0 equal to 0 0, true. That is very simple. If it is both are the same data type, it is simple, right? Different, it will say false. But what happens if two different data types are compared? What really happens? JavaScript, does it have that intelligence to compare two different data types? No, it does not have. It has to convert one of the operands to one data type, so that both are of the same data type, then only it will compare. Understand, in no language it will compare two different data types, equality of two different data types, and give you a value. It will convert one operand to the same data type as another and then only compare. So in JavaScript it is called as type cohesion. So normally in case of double equal to, it will try to convert to number if one of the operands are number. Okay. So what will be the this value of this? 0 equal to 0. You can give a guess that it will be true. Okay, but how it happens? So this will be one of your, even if you say true, you will be asked how, right? So it is very simple. Okay, this is number and this is string. So the JavaScript, as I told you, in case of equality, double equality, it will mostly try to convert as number, provided if one of the operand is number. So it will try to convert double equal to that empty string as number, and you can see 0. So 0 equal to 0 is true, as you know, right? So this is how it tries to convert to the same data type, then only it will compare. Understand this. Okay, false equal to 0, what it does? So what it will, as you can guess, number of false will be equal to 0. So that's how it is able to say it as true. Okay, the similar case with this as well. Number of true, number of true. When true is converted as number, it is 1. Okay. Another great tricky thing you have to understand is not a number equal to not a number is equal to false. So this may be one of your interview questions. Not a number equal to not a number is always false. Though both are the same thing, it is false. Maybe we can also try type of NaN. Okay. Though it says as number, NaN not a number equal to not a number is always false. Okay. And other thing is null. In case of double equal to, null and undefined are seen as same. It is equal to true because null means no value, right? Undefined means no initialized value. Both in terms of loose equality comes as true. Okay. So just always remember this type cohesion. Okay. Whenever you have been given with this problem, try to understand that it will convert to one of the data types, and then only it will convert to the same data type. Normally in case of double equal to, it the conversion happens to number only, number of that value, provided one of the operand is a number. So now in case of non-primitives, non-primitives are nothing but in JavaScript, other than primitives all are objects. So non-primitives is nothing but we are trying to compare object in JavaScript. So if you take object in JavaScript, so if you try to compare two object, equality will never be true. Okay, because in case of objects, we are not comparing the value, we are comparing the reference, that is the address where it is saved. So we are trying to compare two addresses, so it will never be true. Understand? Okay, in case of objects, double equality without any think about it, it will never be true. Okay, because it is reference type, we are trying to compare two addresses. I can also try to show you that. Maybe if you try to compare two empty objects, so you can see it is false whatever, because the address of these two objects are different. Even the both may be empty, but the address where it is saved is different. Okay, you have the same thing. Even in this case it will be false. Okay, you understand, right? So this is true for arrays. Okay, because all are objects only. All are saved in addresses. All are reference types only. So this can try to even compare functions. Both empty functions will be false only. Okay. Maybe if you want to do this way, you have to put maybe let func equal to this function, like func1 equal to another function. Now let's compare these two. Let's see, we are able to compare. So you can see it is false. Okay, since even functions are objects in JavaScript. Okay, so non-primitives, whatever you compare, it will be false. Now let's move on to our next thing, triple equal to. Next thing we are triple equal to. It is strict equality. The double equal to was loose equality operator. Triple equal to is strict equality operator. Okay. The strict equality operator, what it will do? First, it will compare the type, then only it will try to compare the value. You understand? Sorry. So first the type, then only the value. So here no type cohesion happens. Okay. If two are different types, then always false only. Only when it is of same data type, then only it will try to compare the value. Okay. In this case, if you see 0 equal to empty, it will be false. Okay. But in double equal to, it was true, right? So since this is number, this is string, right away it will say false, right? And similarly, true equal to triple equal to 1, false, because this is boolean and this is number. Okay, so the type cohesion never happens in case of triple equal to. Just first it will try to compare the type and then only it will go for number. Even in this case, NaN triple equal to NaN will be false. Okay, and null equal to double equal to undefined was true, but triple equal to, it is different, because this is of type object, undefined is of type undefined. Okay, understand? This is about primitives. So non-primitives, in case of objects, even if you do double equal to triple equal to, always it will be false only. Okay, because we are comparing the addresses. Understand, this should be your answer when somebody asks you. False. Okay, whatever we do, it will be false. Comparing objects with any type of double or triple equality, it will be false only. Okay, false. Even that array is false. False. Okay, maybe triple equal to what we are trying. Okay. Okay, hope you understood the difference between double equal to and triple equal to. So conclusion is, so we are always advised to use strict equality, that is triple equal to, because double equal to, in many cases you may not have the desired output. You may think that it should be true, but it should be false, or it should be true, but because of type cohesion many things may change. Even in case of null equal to undefined is true. So because of type cohesion, we are asked always to avoid double equal to and go for triple equal to, so that we always get the desired result we need. Okay, correct? So try to use in when you try to write code, always try to use triple equal to. Thank you. Hope you understood. Kindly subscribe to. Hi all, welcome to the series of interview questions in front end. Today we will be seeing yet another very important question in JavaScript. So this is a very simple question, okay? Is JavaScript a compiled languages or interpreted languages? This is the first question. And will I be able to find issues before getting executed? Okay, this is the second question. So you know Java and all, what you would have done? You would have first compiled, made a bytecode out of it, and then give that bytecode to the Java executor, and it will execute. In JavaScript, do we have such a step? No, we mostly in scripting languages we don't have. JavaScript, if you take, it is just interpreted line by line by the browser. By the browser, I mean in the browser who reads the line one by one and executes it? It is done by the JavaScript engine. This JavaScript engine varies because this JavaScript engine is different for different vendor. In case of Chrome, we have the V8 engine. In case of Firefox, we have SpiderMonkey, and for Opera, it is different. Likewise, so so this so the answer will be it is read line by line. Okay, it does not get compiled into a bytecode, and JavaScript executor does not execute it. It doesn't happen that way. It executes line by line, okay, by the JavaScript engine. That's why it is said as interpreting. There is no compilation step to JavaScript. Okay, it is interpreted line by line. So it is called as interpreter. Okay, but because of this, but we lose a benefit, right? In case of Java and all, in compilation, when the Java code gets compiled, when you do Java and the file name, you will be able to find issues with your code. But in case of JavaScript, only if the JavaScript engine reads that line, it will be able to tell you the issues. So you have to wait till that point. Maybe you should go for that proper use case to reach that line for for the JavaScript engine to tell you the issue. So that's why we have the TypeScript, which brings a extra step to you, like the compilation step, which tells you the issue beforehand. So that's what we say. So the after the TypeScript, it gets compiled to compiles or transpiles to JavaScript. So by means of Java TypeScript, we get that extra step of compilation, which compiles your code and tells you the issue beforehand, before getting transpiled into JavaScript. Now coming to the next question. Will it be able to find issues before execution? No. JavaScript by itself, you will not be able to find the issue with a particular line until the JavaScript interpreter or the engine executes that line. Okay. Maybe I can tell you, maybe I can show you example. Okay. Maybe I will have a simple constant function. Okay. ff maybe ggg, name it func. Okay, I will name it function. I will say if 1 not equal to 1, so it will never go to this statement, and I will say console, maybe intentionally will make it wrong. Okay, okay, I'm just doing this. It is not able to execute that function, not closed it anywhere. Okay, Maybe we have to put another bracket. Sorry, I missed to put another bracket. That's the issue there. Okay. Now the function is ready. If you normally put it, you will get an error, right? If you put it, it will say there is nothing called console.log. You see this. But if I execute this function, okay, maybe I will do it once more. Maybe I will name it func1. We will reduce all the extra spaces, right? Okay. But when I execute this function, you can see it will not tell you any error because the interpreter never goes inside this line. So it will never tell you this issue until and unless you have a use case. Maybe you develop the code, you give it to the client. Maybe at a particular use case, it goes inside. That time the client will be able to find this issue, which is which when client finding the issue, which is developer not finding the issue, client, it will be a big issue, right? So that's what. So the answer to the second question is JavaScript will not be able to find issues with the code unless and until it is executed. That line is executed. That's it. So that's what I want to make you clear. Okay. Thank you. See you in tomorrow's question. Thank you. Get the questions every day. Thank you. Hi all. Welcome to the series of intro questions front end. Every day. Let's see. Yeah. Very good question. Okay. Maybe many have doubts on this. Many think the question is what is Node.js? Okay, this may look to be a backend question because Node.js is backend. But as a front-end developer, I want you to know at least this basics. Okay, what is Node.js? Okay, and many people think it to be a different language. Okay, is they think it is a different variant of JS. Okay, since it named as Node.js, and some people think it has been written for a different variant of JS written for server side. Is it so? Is it a different programming language? Before coming to this question, let's answer one more question. Let's try to understand who executes JavaScript. You you go to the prompt. Okay, let me go to that inspector. Okay, and when I write something, right, in the console, I try to write something. Console log hello. Okay, maybe I will make it bigger. Okay, console log hello. Okay, okay, whatever. So when I say enter, it try executes. Who executes this? Within which environment it gets executed? It is getting executed by the browser. The JavaScript engine inside the browser is executing it, right? While installing the browser, we are not going and installing JavaScript engine, the executor for JavaScript engine separately. It comes with the browser. So the Chrome comes with its own JavaScript engine. They have their own team which builds the JavaScript engine, which executes whatever your website. They have a JavaScript is executed by the JavaScript engine, which is inside the browser environment, right? And the JavaScript engine in Chrome it is called as V8, and for Firefox it is called as SpiderMonkey. So all are different JavaScript engines built by their own team of the browser vendor. Okay, so they execute. So that JavaScript engine only executes the code, the JavaScript what you are writing, right? So in Chrome, as I said, it is V8 engine. What is Node.js is, okay, the V8 engine which is present in Chrome, they took it to the server side, okay, they put it inside a C++ program, Okay, and that C++ program is called as that environment is called as Node.js. So Node.js is just the environment which has the same JavaScript engine which is present in the Chrome. You understand? Inside a C++, as I told you, inside a C++ program, they put this V8 engine, and that C++ program environment is called as Node.js. So when you compare JavaScript, which is present in the Node.js, and JavaScript, which is present in the browser, what is different? Just the environment is different. In case of browser, the environment, we have the Windows, the browser environment. In case of Node.js, they will tell the different, the window will not be present. In case of Node.js, you will have something called global. Okay, you understand? Only the environment is different in case of the JavaScript in browser and JavaScript in Node.js. So try to completely understand. Node.js is nothing a different variant. It is nothing like a very different variant of JavaScript. It is the same JavaScript engine taken to the server side, put inside a environment. That environment is called as Node.js, right? So, so the Node.js can be compared to your browser. Okay. So you should not compare Node.js to a language. It is comparable to your browser. As JavaScript is working inside the browser, in likewise in Node.js in the server, JavaScript is working inside the Node environment. Okay, correct. Hope you understood. How to get the Node environment to your system? Just you have to install Node. If you see Node.js install, okay, install, you will get this. You install the Node. Once you install the Node for Windows, okay, in whatever platform you are, you install Node, you will get the npm also will be, you will get the npm also, the Node environment and npm. Okay, so you have to then once you get the Node to your system, you can just install execute any JS inside the Node. Likewise, you execute the JS inside your browser, because inside the browser JavaScript engine is present. Likewise, using the Node, you can execute any JavaScript program. Since I already have the Node installed in my system, so let me write a simple program. Okay, maybe sample.js, maybe hello 222333 something. Okay, now this program I have it in the same environment, same path. So what I will say is, simply for executing this this JavaScript program, you can just give node and the name of the program sample.js, and it will execute. Okay, so this now instead of executing the JavaScript from the browser environment, I have executed the JavaScript what I have it in my file system using the node which is in the server side. Correct? Hope you understood. Okay. Okay, so don't have this thinking that Node.js is a different variant of JS. You have to learn it. So Node.js, what you learn, it is the same JavaScript to the server side. Maybe you have to learn about the environment. Okay, in Node.js, what an environment is present. Because in Node, if you take the inspector tools, if you say window, that is the environment of the JavaScript engine, right? The JavaScript engine is running inside this environment. The window is the environment for JavaScript engine. If you open the Node.js, right, once you install Node, you will also get this Node.js. You can just open it, and you can, how you execute in the browser, you can even execute it here. It gets executed like in the browser. Okay. So, but when you put window here, you will not get window here. Sorry, I am not able to make it bigger. Pardon me. You will not get window because this the JavaScript is not running inside a window environment in case of Node.js. In case of Node.js, the window is replaced by global. That is the global object within which the JavaScript engine is running. Okay. Okay. Before closing this, let us see also a definition of Node.js. So, as per if you see the definition of Node.js, it is a open source, as you know. It is a cross-platform. It can be developed across platforms. It is not a single platform, and it will work similarly in all platforms. And it is. I just want you to stress on this. It is a backend JavaScript runtime environment. It is not a language. It is a runtime environment. Okay, that runs the V8 engine. Runs on the V8 engine and executes a JavaScript code. Okay, outside the web browser. So if you have a code, till now we were trying to execute the JavaScript on the browser. Now it can on the server side. If you have a JavaScript on your file system, you can even execute the JavaScript using the node. Node environment also can execute the JavaScript. The node has nothing but the JavaScript engine. That's what it is mentioned as runs on V8 engine. Okay. So you can also execute the JavaScript using the node environment. Okay. Hope this is clear for everyone. Okay. Hope this was useful. Thank you. Hi all, welcome to this series of intro questions front end every day. So we will be seeing a simple question in JavaScript. What is this in JavaScript? Seeing this, many think it is very simple. It points to the current object, but in JavaScript, it is little different. So it is a confused topic in case of JavaScript. So in case of JavaScript, right, this uh, this value is dependent on who is calling that function. This inside a function, okay, the value depends on how that function is getting called. Okay, it does not always refer to the current object. Okay, it depends on how that function which has this is getting called. Normally it refers to the left hand side. If the left hand side has an object, this will point to that object. If the left hand side is empty, it means this will refer to the windows, because in that case, right, it means like the windows browser windows is calling that function, so this will refer to the windows. Okay, so as a rule you can take it like this. Always this will refer to the left hand side, who is calling that function, the left hand side of that function, how the function is getting stored. If it is empty, more or less it will be windows. If it is an object, it will point to that object. Other thing you need to understand is there's no implicit this as you have it in classical languages. We have only implicit. If you leave a variable a, it will not point to this dot a. It will mean windows dot a in case of JavaScript. Okay. Let's take this simple example. In the first case, right, that this, what will be the value for this? Since the left hand side is empty, this will refer to the Windows object. Since the left hand side is empty, it means like the browser Windows is calling this func. So this will point to Windows, the global object. But in the second case, we are putting the func one as a value to this object. As a value to this func key. Okay, if you put that function inside the object and you call that function from your object, this will point to the object 1. Okay, hope this is clear, right? So let me reiterate. So always has a have a as a thumb rule, you have like that this will refer to the left hand side, how that function is getting called. If it is empty, it will point to Windows. If it is called from an object, this will refer to the object. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.
Hi all, welcome to the series of interview questions front end every day. Today we will be seeing yet another important question in JavaScript. So it is a very simple question. So you can expect this question greatly in your interview because so the question is whether JavaScript is an object-oriented language. So you know Java is completely object oriented because it is all classes. You can't write anything without classes. And C++ is partially object oriented because you can write some things without classes. So it is said to be completely not partially object oriented. In JavaScript, if you take, do you have classes? That's the first question. Okay. In Java and all, if you take inheritance, how it happens, a class A inherits class B. But in JavaScript, is it likewise? So if you take JavaScript, though in ESX you might find classes, but those all are syntactic sugar. If you see how it gets converted, still it uses the same function, and the inheritance happens like a prototype based. Okay, what you see outside is just for development, for the developer to find it easy. Okay, but under the hood, if you see, it is still the same old way of doing the functions you do and new functions, and then you do a prototype based inheritance. So JavaScript does not have classes. So you have to understand that if this interviews question is asked, you have to say like it is JavaScript is an object based language based on prototype. It is not class based object oriented language. It is prototype based object oriented language. Correct? Because you do not have classes. Okay. And for the inheritance to happen, and other the great thing you have to understand with JavaScript is if you take Java, C++, it is like class inheriting another class. But if you take in case of JavaScript, it is object inheriting another object. So it is all object based. JavaScript is completely object based, and for inheritance also it is prototype based. So your answer should be like it is prototype based object oriented language. It is not class based object oriented language. Okay. And it is not completely object oriented because it does not have classes and does not follow the OOPS principle strictly. Okay. Just before that, I just will show you an example how the inheritance happens in a prototype based. Okay. So so let me create a child. Okay. See, let it keep it as caps because it is a constructor. Okay. This function I'm going to use it for creating an object. So I will have a variable called child equal to child. Okay. Okay. Now I have another function. Okay. Let me have it as parent. Here I will create a variable called parent. Okay. Sorry. I will make it caps. Okay. Now I will create the objects for these two objects. Like child object equal to new child. Okay. Made sense, I believe. And similarly, I will create a parent object, new parent. Okay. Now, if I want the child object to inherit from the parent object, what you have to do? Okay. Maybe the child object I wanted to inherit this dot parent from the parent. So normally in Java and all, you will have a class child, class parent, and class child will extends parent so that it will be able to use the instance variable of the parent. But in case of JavaScript, if you want to inherit, what you have to do is you have to use prototype. So that's why it is called prototype based. Okay, this is how you can inherit in JavaScript. You have to put, see here, child object dot proto. I have to set it to parent object. Now the child object, I have created a link from child object to parent object. Now you can see what I told. It in JavaScript is always object inheriting another object. Okay. It is not class based, it is prototype based. Now the child object can directly use the parent variable. Since it has a link is created, we have created a prototypical link from the child object to the parent object. So it will be able to access the parent instance variable parent. You can see. So just understand, if this interview question is asked, you have to prove that you have to tell that it is prototype based object oriented language. It is not class based object oriented language, and it is not completely object oriented, and since it does not have class, as in the case of other native languages like Java, C++, it is, and it does not strictly follow OOPS principle, though it is all possible, but it is object inheriting another object. It is not class. That's what I said. Prototype based. Okay. The object gets inherited through prototype. Okay. Hope this question is clear. Thank you, guys. Hi all. Welcome to the series of interview questions. So today we'll be seeing yet another important question. Is JavaScript single-threaded or multi-threaded? So if you take JavaScript, okay, be very clear with the answer. It is single-threaded. Okay, that is the core design of it. It has only a single thread, and multi-threading is not possible in JavaScript. I say single-threaded, I mean the JavaScript execution is single-threaded. The JavaScript execution has only a single thread, so it means it has only a single call stack. So whatever gets executed comes to this call stack and gets executed. Okay. What happens if you are going to do any complex activity in the thread, like uh, trying to print for 10,000 elements? What will happen? So it means you will be blocking the thread. So all the subsequent things will not happen, right? You will be blocking the thread, and all the subsequent things will not happen. So in JavaScript, and it is very much needed for the developer to not block the thread in any way. They have to make it as all the complex activity as asynchronous. That's why just think over this. If you are going to call a server and you keep waiting for that in the main thread, what will happen? Nothing will happen. The user cannot even click anything on the web page because you are still using the thing, still using the thread. So that's why all the fetch APIs and all those are asynchronous. Moment you trigger it, you leave it and go to the next statement. So remember, in JavaScript, you should never ever block the main thread. Okay, that's why it is called non-blocking, right? I'll just show you a scenario if you what will happen in your Chrome browser if you block the thread. So let me open a Chrome tab. Okay. Right now you can see all you are able to link and all are active, right? It actually responds to my request. Now let me block the thread. Okay. So what I will do, maybe I will print for 1000 or 10,000, whatever. Okay. Just I will use a for loop which will print for 1000. Okay. Right. What I'm doing correct. Now you can see. Okay. Maybe it became, maybe I will put 10,000 so that, so now you can see this is the tab I was doing. Maybe I will increase it is so fast. Now you can see it is not all in nothing is active because I have blocked the thread. Only once this process is in done, then only it will be active again. You understand? You can see this here. Nothing is active, right? In Chrome, what happens is all the browsers, all the tabs share the same thread. So you can't do anything until this is over. Okay. Nothing is happening because you're using the thread, right? So now let me go to my thing. So this is about the JavaScript thread. So to reiterate, it is has only a single call stack, that is single thread. So the Java execution is single threaded. Another major misconception, misunderstanding people have is they think even the fetch or the set timeout, set interval, whatever you do, also comes in the same thread. So that's not the case. Or those set timeout, set interval, fetch calls, whatever you do, are all browser APIs. Okay, that is all written by your browser vendors. For Chrome, it is different. For Firefox, it is different. So, so when you do anything from JavaScript, when you call set timeout or set interval or any fetch calls, it actually the JavaScript just triggers and goes to the next statement. So it does not wait for those browser APIs to come back. So those are called as asynchronous. Okay, understand? Those execution does not come under the thread of JavaScript, the single call stack of JavaScript. Those are all handled by the browser. Okay. Once you do them, what happens is if you do a fetch, the callback, once that is done, it receives the response. The callback of the fetch or the promise of the fetch, the callback given out by the fetch comes inside the queue and it goes to the call stack actually. It does not go directly to call stack. It goes through the queue and call stack. From queue to call stack, it is called as execution event loop. It goes only when the call stack does not have any other thing. So this I would be doing another question, and you can also refer to my previous video on execution event loop. That is also a very important concept. So this I hope this is clear for you. Just before I close, the JavaScript execution is single threaded. Always remember there is multi-threaded is not possible. This is the basic design of JavaScript. This is the how it works even in Node.js. Okay, that is only a single thread which looks for the waits for the user request, the API request from the front end. So you can understand in Node.js, if you are going to block any thread, another user cannot come to your website. So that's how very important it is. You should never block the thread. Hope this is clear. Thank you.